different perspective, or just quoting different numbers, but also sending the same message. We generated turnover of 1 trillion rands, was 9% less than the previous year, but this was from a diversity of commodities and minerals, including precious metals such as diamond and PGMs, and gold, bulk commodities such as iron ore, manganese, as well as other industrial minerals, which are going to be very important to Minister McPherson in terms of turning this country into a construction site. And this performance was achieved through employing 475,000 people and paying 195 billion rands in wages to employees, and also a share of taxes to government of 117 billion combined across VAT, pay-as-you-earn, company tax and royalties. And interestingly, of these, the employee tax is the one that increased. Obviously, I guess based on inflation, it increased on the pay. And so if you look at the multipliers of mining, as I've mentioned before, where for every one job in mining could lead to 10 in other industries, and that each person employed supports probably 4 to 5 people in a household, the impact on community and society is huge in terms of what the mining industry is. And this was done whilst achieving a record safety performance, and hence more people returned home last year. And then lastly, several millions spent with local municipalities, both within what we know and have accepted as a social and labor plans. But there's also been several millions spent outside of social and labor plans in education, health, roads, municipal capacity building, an area that mining industry has been involved with, and infrastructure, all to improve the well-being of communities within which we operate. Now, we had a bit of a debate with the team, because I've deliberately and somewhat provocatively entitled the session, "What Miners Want," just so that we don't leave any doubt as to what we believe will enable the industry to grow. It's not in any way to be cheeky or arrogant, but rather to be clear. What we want is, we want to grow because we want to make a better and bigger contribution to the well-being of South Africa. And we've illustrated this with the numbers that we've presented to you. South Africa is the world's largest supplier of platinum group metals, and I'm wearing an emblem here of the International Platinum Association. I wear my mission on my lapel. I try to do that just to remind myself of my job. We're the largest producer of manganese. I think Northern Cape is the go-to destination where manganese is concerned, and also chrome. And this is born from the deposits, the type of deposits that South Africa hosts. And I think for many of you, you would have lived this experience in the gold mining industry, in the Witwatersrand. After 130 years of mining continues, and probably still has another 20 to 30 years, if that. But if we consider the development of new mines and the flurry of exploration, we're simply not competitive, certainly not enough. And given the state of our infrastructure that is essential to competitive performance and growth of the mining industry, we have to give attention to what is required for the industry to be competitive. We've spoken about the progress to date on electricity and logistics, and I was in a session yesterday with Dan, the CEO of Eskom, and Michelle, CEO of Transnet, where we spoke about the progress to date. There still remains some challenges. And we've also heard from Operation Vulindlela 2.0, where there is a shared ambition of achieving 3% growth by the end of this year. It's quite a tall ask. Transnet, as we know, has been implementing reforms to open its rail networks, and Michelle spoke about what she's doing on the ports with her team in terms of private sector participation. This year they'll be achieving close to about 165 million tons. Not the target that they expected, but I think given that they're 9 million tons above where they were last year, it's a significant achievement and certainly in the right direction towards the 250 million. And she was very emphatic to say it's a national target, 250 million tons before the end of this decade. Equally, Eskom, 311 days to be specific, without load shedding, and 30 beside the recent announcement. which I believe is temporary. But I think what's important within that is the contribution of the mining industry in complementing and supplementing some of Eskom's effort. We have combined 90 renewable energy projects in the pipeline at a potential cost of 275 billion rand, and this will contribute close to 16 gigawatts of renewable electricity. And this will go a long way towards taking the pressure off the grid and freeing up electricity for the economy. And then lastly, to mention that we've also seen the unfolding of water crisis in various regions where mining is located. And two of those regions in Limpopo, as well as the Northern Cape, but there's a requirement for 37 billion rand of investment, which the mining industry will facilitate in raising towards the construction and refurbishment of these projects. So the impact of the industry really needs to be noted. And in my view, all of this really speaks to an expression that I've started to use at the beginning of this conference, and that is, ask not what the mining industry can do for you, but rather what you can do for the growth of the mining industry. And you will remember a former US president using those words about America. And so it is clear from the conversations that we've been engaged in during the conference and hearing that South Africa, as well as its mineral wealth, is in a real competition for investment, not only in dollars but also rands. And this is investment that's required for exploration, mine development. Equally, the continent is a buzz of activity for the metals and minerals that we're all going to need for both development of the continent, but also the advancement of our economy and society, as well as enabling the energy transition. So it's not about only transitioning, it's the kind of benefits that we expect from mining, which South Africa desperately needs. Mining and other commodities is an important player in our economy and the economies of many African countries. And we've seen how this can range anywhere from South Africa with 6% of GDP, and in some other African countries it's well above 50% of GDP. And so for mining to be able to play a strong and competitive game and win for the nation, we want, as an industry, firstly, a regulatory environment that encourages investment into our prospecting sector, which for the past 4 years has attracted less than 1%. We've been as high as 5% of global exploration expenditure. We need to have a vibrant exploration portfolio, and from that, I do see an enduring mining industry that changes the fate of many people from continued unemployment, poverty and hunger to a world of and a country of dignity, pride and joy from the wealth that I believe mining can create. Secondly, with reference to the NPRDA, which will be undergoing review, provisions for exploration companies that are fit for purpose, prospecting junior, mid-tier and major mining companies. We have a diversified mining industry, and it needs to consider the needs of each of the players within that sector, including artisanal and small-scale mining, in order to encourage investment in business-friendly laws. And so this is the conversation we take into the journey. We also would want the expected and timely introduction of a modern, transparent mining cadastre. And I know we've spoken about this ad nauseum, but I think it's important that we repeat what we've said before. And this cadastre system will bring South Africa level with other mining jurisdictions in terms of efficiency of licensing. And the evidence has been shown by other mining territories. And this will do, firstly, urgently manage the backlog of unprocessed prospecting and mining right applications. And secondly, it will speedily process and issue new applications without contestation or court cases, something which currently is taking a lot of CEO time and professionals fighting cases in court rather than drilling holes in the ground for exploration. And this equally will remove any perceptions of malfeasance. An investment-friendly exploration environment will encourage the creation of prospecting funds for the private sector, and thus broadening the options for access to finance and opening further opportunities for new entrants to complement the funding which government has created of 400 million rands. However, I think what it will be important here is that there'll be much less conditions and really allowing for exploration of viable deposits, not only limited to critical minerals, and also allowing for newcomers. We also want government departments to be aligned and streamline various aspects of approving prospecting and mining applications. The creation of a one-stop shop for investors to expedite exploration and mining projects is critical. A holistic approach from a wholly functional regulator with skills and capacity to manage the sector is equally essential to align on the needs and performance of the industry, address the speed at which decisions are made, and to strengthen the trust between the industry and the DMPR. And then lastly, the Minerals Council commissioned a study into the MPRDA during 2024 in order to understand objectively, because this was a stakeholder-informed process, whether the Act has achieved its stated aims of growing the mining sector and encouraging development and transformation. This report is on our website, and we included a two-page summary with it, so you're free to go and download that. Encouraging, the Minister has described our sector as the most transformed of all economic sectors, so we're pleased about that. We're making good progress. However, when it comes to growth, the MPRDA has not achieved that goal. And I do encourage you to review it. The purpose of this morning is not in any way to go through that report. But what you will find is that the report was very holistic in its approach. It was covering both issues of concern in the broader context, but also very specific industry issues. And it has reviewed several areas of mining, including recommendations on areas such as GDP growth, growth in exploration, growth in employment, environmental management, illegal mining and artisanal small-scale junior mining, as well as suggested changes in terms of some of our institutions. And so as I conclude, South Africa is on a mission to economic growth, to create jobs and to reduce poverty. The mining industry is a key player and a contributor to this mission. We believe that a growing mining sector with both large and small players, new entrants, including women and youth-owned mining businesses, is a transforming sector. A fully functional, cost-competitive infrastructure will encourage industrial investment, not only in mining, which will add value to minerals, but also create value for the country, thus maximizing the value of our exports, growing and broadening our economy, and creating jobs which will enhance the dignity and the pride of South Africans. Thank you.